Your moment of truth coming from a tiny little sound booth way up high here in the Rocky Mountain sky, where the original trickles of life come into being, man, just like they're inside of you too, babies. You know, you're the original waters of life. You're the spring creek right along with us here, man. We're all in the same old flow, no matter where we are on it, don't you know? I mean, some are way up high in the stream, and some are way down low in the stream, or some are just out there in the ocean still being just a dream, waiting for their turn to come and stream, okay? Well, babies, you don't have to wait long now, do you? 'Cause it's right here, right now, and how, man? And if you're one of those out there floating around, excuse me, if you're one of those out there floating around that ocean of love, you know, and you're just, you know you're a sweet little turtle dove, well, just wake up one day and see yourself as flying. And next thing you know, you ain't trying, you are that white dove. And you got the little olive branch in your mouth, and you're flying right alongside that eagle and that hawk and, you know, the sparrow too, man. And, you know, I think there's even a hummingbird hitching a ride or two. You ought to see. We've had such great bird angelic energy here, because to me it's the same thing, birds and angels. Well, I mean, you got to understand, the whole world is created of the angelic realm, all of it, you know, including us, of course, but, you know, the birds particularly, because they got the wings and the feathers and all that good stuff, you know, that's the angelic realm kind of, you know, reflecting back to us some of our true glory, some of our true life. You know, some of the true love that we are, man, you know, 'cause that's what angels are. They're pure love, you know. Well, so are our little bird friends, too. And there sure has been a lot of good bird energy around here. Man, it's the signs of the times, the way things are going. But when you've got eagles coming around and saying howdy all the time, and then you got hummingbirds coming out and doing aerial acrobatics for you that are just really totally impressive. I mean, just ground you to, flatten you to the ground, because, I mean, these guys can really move around. They go way up there and do a little hammerhead stall, and on their dive they come back so fast you can't even hardly follow them with your eyes, man. I mean, they're going 100 miles an hour, man. Better than that. Shoot, I tell you what. And then there's all these robins and sparrows and little chickadees hanging out. And, I mean, everybody seems to be really vibing up here in the great wilderness of life. You know, it seems like all the life is just kind of starting to wiggle and jiggle a little bit brighter and fly a little higher and a little stronger. And, you know, this bird energy is just totally reinforcing of the dream coming true. You see, the dream that we all held in our heart from the moment we first stepped forward into this life that made us blue, you know, but man, now the blue is all through. Now it's rock and roll. Now it's rock and roll paradise, just like old Righteous Brothers yesterday. If you believe in forever and life is just a one-night stand, well, if there's a rock and roll heaven, you know they got a hell of a band. Well, we got the whole rock and roll heaven right here in our green room, voluntarily, I might add. They're not locked in there or nothing, no way, but we ought to, huh? Just to show them that we can't. No, we wouldn't do that to them, man. I mean, you know, spirits like that, you know, they're really grand performers like that. They get to be spearheads down here, man. The spearhead that cuts away all of the ignoble bullshit here and brings us all back to the heart-centered life where we really truly do care for one another. I know it's hard to dream that dream when you're surrounded by all this, not just chaos, but deliberate brutality. Some of the meanest mofos ever to live seem to be living now, don't they? You know, some of the darkest, coldest, deepest, dankest pieces of doo-doo we could ever, you know, invent too, man. I'll tell you what, man, you go to the outhouse many, many times before you create monsters like this. Takes a lot of BS to get it to that point, man, but it's only because it's washing out, it's washing up, you know. It just gotta have its last little eruption, gotta finish its little act, right to the last little toenail screeching on the chalkboard as it goes down, you know, and knows it's not coming around that way anymore because, well, we got all the training and instruction we could use in that area, you know, as far as like human souls going through a soul type of condition. Some would call it an education. I don't. Some would call it a school of life. I don't, but we have learned a lot here, haven't we, see? And those were our instructors here in the 3D, those dark, dank pieces of doo-doo that tried to lead us around by the nose, you see. But now, as you realize your own empowerment inside, as you realize you are united with a much larger tribe than you ever imagined before, all the divisions and stuff go out the door. All this strange little game we've been playing about hating each other because you're a Muslim and I'm a Hindu or whatever. I mean, goodness gracious, guys. I mean, come on. Anyway, we're knocking off with the categorization as we grow beyond it, see. It's not a matter of like, oh, I won't be that way anymore because I love my brother, or love my mother or whatever. You know what I mean? You better love your mother because she's your life, man. But whatever stage or step you're on it, we're all taking the same step at the same time. And we're beginning to realize that we're a unified tribe, and there's where the power is. That each person has the power of that tribe within them. The whole tribe, not just one or two. And they don't have to go and stand in tall places with marble pillars around them to be, the big muckety muck of the universe, because we already are. And it ain't no big deal. I mean, the universe loves its babies, and that's why they made us babies, so we could relearn living for everyone living. You understand how that works, babies? This is the job we were given, the task we were assigned to here, was to refine life to its finest stages by going through the worst. Because only doing that could we find the best. Only by then could we embrace what we already are. You take it away from yourself. Don't it always seem to go? You don't know what you got till it's gone, see? And it's been gone for long enough now. Our heart is like totally sick of grieving over it and totally done with the grief. Totally done with the pain of separation. We're letting the love come in again. It's real simple. And as we let the love come in from this little radio show on Hazy Radio Network, and the reality around us, of course, because it's rising up everywhere. We're just here to share our element of it with those who care and those who want to be there, because you already are, but you're hankering for it, same as I am, man, You got that springtime in the Rockies feeling, the harvest of the fall abundance going on, the big blast of winter that don't knock you on your backside, that bring you out of the house and you just go, oh my goodness, I am surrounded by immortal beauty no matter what time of year it is, etc., etc. The season is cool, whatever it is, man. It just blows you away because you live it right here in this moment, right now, today. Sweet smell of scented sage on the atmosphere there too, darling. I can just barely catch a whiff of it today, can't you? Yeah, see? That's purification for the whole reality. See, Mother Earth is kind of smudging herself right now and get ready for some real rockin' good times. So don't worry about all the BS you see going on around you, the stuff in the skies and the harps and the mind control and the 5G towers are going to kill everybody, don't you? I mean, if you go that way, baby, you're gone that way. See, don't give it energy. Don't give it power. Give it love. Give it truth. That's the only response you can have. Stay loving no matter what happens. And then you will, stand up where you have to if there's a need to. But normally, you won't be confronted. The more loving you become, the more uniform the reality around you becomes with you. The more you flow in the equity of love, the equity of life, which, basically brings everybody out of the rock into the roll and brings rock and roll together in a real divine harmonic way. I once heard the angels sing like in the 17-level harmony, they're singing Proud Mary. Wow, I'll tell you, John Fogerty and Tina Turner both would just flip their lid to hear this again, man. I'm telling you, it's like it was in a little slower tempo, but you kind of lived the music as they displayed it, as it came through, and all this multiplicity of harmonies. It's really hard to describe because here we're limited to the dimensional 3D to a certain extent, you see. But this goes way beyond that. It can barely be heard in the 3D. That's why, it's the density. We have to lighten up a little bit so we can hear that music all the time. Because guess what? We are the divine, and the angels are singing us into being the same way as we are being and singing those angels into being that are singing us into being. Spring Creek, your moment of truth. Now that seemed like a dichotomy, a diametrically opposed reality, or, reality inside of a reality inside of a reality inside of a reality. Well, that's what the music shows you, that all these levels are just levels of harmony, tonage, resonation within the divine harmony of creation. And each one of us is an individual little note and the whole harmony too, just blowing ourselves away each and every day as we come out to play in this here heart-centered sort of way. With Grandpa Coyote, Okiwan Kenobi, a whole crew of angelic types in all forms of expression, and the likes of you tuning in too, baby. This is all one big happy family, man. It takes a lot of love to get us back to where we're going to be. Well, we already are there, don't you see? Let yourself just fall back into it. Let go of that fear that says you can't. Just say, thank you, I appreciate the protection, see you around. Ooh, and just flow, just close your eyes and go. Lean back in your chair, lean back in your life. Lean back on your haunches and just be there, man. Just be the life you're living, the love you're giving. Just be exuberantly alive in that. That's Spring Creek. That's the flow, don't you know? As displayed once again here on the Hazy Radio. Oh, now we're going to one of them Spring Creek moments today. Nothing to just blow you away. Oh, babies, I love to play. I really do. How about you? Oh, yes, darlings. No matter what comes your way, no matter how it comes or how it plays, babies, just take it easy. That's the easiest of ways, okay? I learned that back in my younger days when everybody was sweating and stressing and toiling real hard. I only toiled as much as I had to. That's all, man, Just enough to get by, baby, you just do it. And do what you gotta do and do it how you gotta do it, but you just get through it, you just go on. And you keep a bit of a little coyote happy attitude, a dancing coyote happy attitude about it, okay? Even when the most drudgerous of jobs comes your way. Well, there ain't anything there you can't get through, man. As unpleasant as it might be. In the next moment, you're going home to a big old party of great pleasurery, and, everything's cool. So don't worry about it, man. Don't be a fool. Just go with the flow. Be in that Spring Creek. Take a dip in the magic waters of life. Immerse yourself completely in them. And let yourself feel the flow and the medicine of your heart and soul that gives a glow to that water, and the magic in the water that gives a glow to you, and the little water angels that tickle you all over the place. One with the water, one with the land, one with the air, one with the sand, and everything that goes with it. Everything we're made of, which is everything that surrounds us, which is everything inside of us too. Now then, I know I got you feeling blue now, didn't I? But we're coming around so fast, it will astound your classy little backside. Let me tell you, man, you just won't believe the way this plays. Just stay tuned in here, the Hazy Radio Network, day after day, as Grandpa and Okiwan Kenobi and the rest of the crew try to help us on with it too, man, and help us get it right, man, because that's what keeps us in flight, that uniformity, that sharing of energies that we do here so well on this radio show. That's the rays coming your way, baby, coming back this way too, man. It's a mutual thing, and it's an ever-growing love, like I said before. Brings equitous love to everything, because there does come that point where you just keep mixing it up until it's all one big happy heart in the whole family. And then you realize the family is expanding and expanding and expanding, And Jeezo Weezo, it's all of humanity once again, man. This is where our true power lies, is in that communal collective heart that we communicate in a separate language from anything we know in the 3D. The language here is designed completely, especially the English language, is designed to keep you down low, to keep you thinking in monetary and economic, in terms of slavery, in other words. In terms of, money is the first choice, then family, then friends, etc. You got all these stupid ass priorities, But of course, money is the first and foremost consideration in most people's lives. Thank goodness not all. But it's been given a priority here that it doesn't really deserve. Because it's just a functional tool, really, to help us get by in this life, to give us some form of measurement, because we had to measure ourselves for whatever the reason. But see, that season, that need for, even for food, even the hunger that goes, the emptiness that goes with hunger and so forth. This stuff is finding satisfaction inside. You'll get to the point where a cup of coffee and a donut is all you need to keep you going all day long. Well, maybe 3 cups of coffee and a donut, or 4 or 5, or half a dozen or so. Maybe 10 donuts. Don't get too tubby now on me. But I tell you what, something simple like that good old manna from heaven, like we used to get back in the good old days when all that tribe was wandering around the desert out there where everybody else on earth was partying and playing and having a good time. These stupid shits were out there in the desert roaming around, being led around by an what do you call them things in Egypt? Pharaoh. Yeah, there you go. The ex-king of Egypt, man. Leading these kids around out there in the desert. I mean, as the legend said now, you really got to go by the memory in your heart and let the stories just be a little clue, because that's all they really are. It's just a little clue to what really happened, too. But anyway, long story short, they're roaming around out there in the desert. Every day they get their needs taken care of, man. 'Cause every day, man, there's a tray with, a silver coffee cup and, a golden plate with 5 or 6 donuts on it for every person that lives there. And the coffee cup is self-filling. You can't sip it all away. It just keeps coming back. And it's always hot. It's always just right. Doesn't burn your tongue, but it's just right, man. It's just enough to warm you up. Reminds you so much of mother's milk. Because I think that's what it's all made of, The illusion is the coffee and the donut itself. But you had to do something because we got this human thing going on, and we got this idea that we got to eat and we got to have food, and, we're wandering around the desert looking for God and who knows what all else, and having a great time doing it. But every time we get a party going on, it's ex-Pharaoh for Jesus goes and screws it up, man. But every morning there's room service right there at every tent in the camp, man. Everybody gets their fair share. You see, that's all you really need to get by in this 3D. Little marijuana, there's a joint there, of course, every day, wrapped in golden paper too, I might add, that really doesn't harm you, but helps you inhale the righteous golden nature of your own self as you toke upon it, you see. So first, of course, before you ever participate in a coffee and a donut, you toke on the golden joint of love. That's the only thing that kept those crazy-ass people together, was toking a little Mary J. and having a little bit of their sacred food to go along with it, wouldn't you say? I'll tell you what, they got to worshiping the donut. They built a great big golden donut out there in the middle of nowhere, and the next thing you know, the whole tribe got on it and flew away. It was a spaceship, man. How about that, huh? Well, then they wound up someplace, I don't know where, but some other planet somewhere, but, they're coming back to tell us the story again sometime, and I'm sure they'll have it a lot more clear than I will, but, you gotta, again, as these memories surface from within, as you give yourself the time to open up and receive of your own heart's energy and to know your real flow in this reality as a person and as the person of humanity, because each person is all of us put together as one, and all of us are put together as one in all of us, okay? Gee, it goes round and round, coyote medicine through and through. But when you understand, man, you can stand on your head or your feet and go both ways, okay? Only that's what Grandpa say here. I mean, you ever been to the pyramids over there in Egypt, man? No, neither have I. But we got pyramids right here in the Rocky Mountain High all over the place, man, you know. Some of them are old and eroded, and some of them are obviously mountains, but some of them are obviously could have been of a more artificial in creation, let's say. You know, the stuff they don't tell you in this life, you know, the stuff they cover up with their quote version of history. And they as us, I understand, but I'm talking in general of the educational system as we know it, which, by the way, is a farce, but, you know, it doesn't diminish anybody that's in it. You know, you do the best you can with what you got, and if that's all you got, you work with it, right? Right. See, so that's what we've been doing here, a lot of good-hearted people in education, so I don't mean to put it down, but it's a load of crap, and we all know it, too. But we didn't know anything else, just like we didn't know anything other than growing up and, you know, getting a bank account and buying a car and a color TV and then getting a house to house it all in, you know, and then, you know, having 3.2 babies and stuff like that, you know. It doesn't work for most people anymore, though we still somehow manage to reproduce somewhat, you know. It seems like there's billions of us hanging out and billions more to come, but guess what? That's a drop in the bucket, a candle in the wind, man. You know, humanity is, I mean, in our past, several times, as I recall, like at least 7, 8 times that I know of, and maybe more. You know, the real geologists suggest that the Earth has been through profound changes that they see in the sediment and the rock and so forth at least 32 times. Instant, profound change. Floods, fires, atomic weaponry, all kinds of different stuff in our history, you know, that they never tell you about. But at certain stages, especially in the earlier days of humanity, before we really accepted the density that we have now, there was a great spreading of ourselves all across the universe, you know. And in a way, that little story about folks wandering around the desert and building the golden donut and having all that coffee and donuts from heaven, you know, and stuff like that, in a way, that's a metaphor for, you know, what we turned loose in the way back when. We put humanity everywhere, you know. But we kept our root here in the earth, you know, even though she's home. She's our heart. She's what we're made of, yes. But our beginnings were, you know, just like her, we had our beginnings in elsewhere places, in multi-dimensional expression. This that we see here, but a weak macrocosmic vision of what our reality is. A tiny little thing. We only put a little bit of ourselves into this, yet we're here now to bring the full presence of ourself in, you know. And I use a lot of metaphorical stories like that to help cue up the memories, the rock and roll memory, because this is the other side of partying in the desert. That's exactly what those people do. Party in the desert. What else you going to do to keep yourselves from feeling blue? You get some good tunage going on. You get some big old amps set up. And you grind out some rock and roll energy that gets the rattlesnakes dancing and losing their rattles and their fangs and shit. Because everybody's so damn happy, you know. Well, that's what was happening out there in the desert years, floating around, doing nothing, man. We was continually growing. So in those times when humanity's been out there, and, you know, literally we've had to leave the planet a few times because we've so screwed her up. So we go float around for a while. You're looking for home, right? Right? Sometimes we lose it, and we have to come back and find it. You know, we have to have our so-called leaders that'll go inside and try to remember where we came from so we can bring us back. I mean, it's weird how many tests and tribulations this humanity has been through is just beyond description. And some of the Hollywood movies and television programs have suggested a lot of this back to us. You know, because, I mean, the folks that run Hollywood, the CIA and the FBI and all that, you know, well, they recognize that the people are coming truthful anyway, so they didn't have any choice but to try and help us get ready for it. They wanted us to get ready for it in a different way, where they could, you know, cut the thing short and rob us of our truth again. It didn't quite work, did it, you know? But they're doing a good job of, putting on a real great circus for us right now, worldwide, man. I have never seen such insane times as I see right now in this reality. The insanity is just becoming more and more insane because it knows its time is over. Insanity rules here. And it starts in the flow of the heart, right here at Spring Creek. The headwaters of life. Your moment of truth from a little sound booth. Wow, we've been lost, but now we've been found. We're coming around because Spring Creek comes bubbling up out of the ground, man, and begins life all over again as all of that magic trickles forward into you and me, all the rest of the crews that you see here on the Spaceship Love and way beyond, worldwide here on the Hazy Radio Network. You betcha, hazyradio.com. We got it on early in the day when Grandpa comes out to play, along with little Okiwan Kenobe. Oh, baby, the noblest little weenie dog there could ever be, man. A true yogi yoga. If ever there was one, baby, I'll tell you. He's a lot of fun, too, man. And I'll tell you what, his little steady flow, it tells you what to do, don't you know? And, babies, I just want to, hike up my leg around every tree I see. Only that can't be. I have to share my love a little more naturally even than that, man. Give that tree a hug. Say, oh, baby, thanks for being here, giving us some fresh air and some bright sun and all the good stuff that you provide here, man. Wow, I tell you what. In fact, I want to hug everyone that I see on the street. I realize the social imposition that might create for some people, imposition, I should say, for some people. But for others, I think it'd be a welcome relief, man, I used to experiment with life way back in the 60s and the 70s, and I'd find myself temporarily in these big cities for a moment or two, and had some time on my hands, so I go walking around, see what I could find, man, And I'd say hi to everybody I met, and oh my goodness, some of them almost, wet their pants and stuff. I tell you, it's just like, that world is so paranoid there. Of course, if you're living in it, you're going to be paranoid too, man. I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of you. Well, guess what? I'm afraid of you too, man. You're a freak, man, if ever I saw one, man. Darlings, it's all about having fun, you see. And so this old man go out there, I do that deliberately just to test people's yearnings, to see what their real inclinations are. See, once in a while, somebody would actually smile back at you. And maybe even say hello. And one time in New York City, out in Queens, if I recall correctly where I was, but New York City, man, this guy out there working in the street sees me coming down the street, strolling along, looking to see what I can see, admiring the tenements and the mastery of New York City. Oh my God, what a jungle! But this brother raises up. Hey man, how you doing today? I look back at him like, well, I was surprised, man. Now I was the one about to wet my pants. I look back and said, well, brother, I'm doing pretty damn good. How about you, man? I'm just going with the flow. There we are, brothers everywhere, man. Brothers and sisters, I should say, because we all are rock stars, but especially our sisters, because, they've carried a heavy weight in this life. They've taken the burden of the man and shouldered it up and did the best they could with it, raising the children of the man and so forth. I mean, what an obscene reality, eh? Predicated on, a basic non-equity, a non-equitous situation where this person had to be this and that person had to be that, and there were very specific roles to play, etc., and so on. And if you didn't particularly agree with the old ritual and shit, you were screwed, because there's no other option, man. Thank goodness we got the days when we could come out and play. Had a little more freedom back in our day. But baby, the freedom has not gone away, though it may appear to be. You see. Again, I point back to our true power. Where the flow begins, right there in the center of our own person, man. Where everything created around us comes from, and our perception in it, and our experience in it, comes from that same center place. All of that. See, so some people take that as a burden, but it's a blessing. You're the center of creation. the center of its experience in a very, very personal sort of way. It's all about you and what you experience here and your particular feelings and emotions and what you go through here and the experience you gain out of it, the blessings you gain out of it. It's all about that. Otherwise, a spirit heart would not find it a worthy journey. We would not subject ourselves to a land of cruelty and pain like this, you see. But we're here to set ourselves free, to go through that land of cruelty, that age of darkness, that age of density, the third density, baby. A dense as dense can be, except there's more dense than this, don't you see? But that's heaviness, that would weight us down. We hit the right place, don't worry about it. And we're hitting the right place right now, in this and how moment of love, as we begin to recognize the uniformity of the energies inside of ourselves. How it's kind of like the tree of life, just blossoms up from the center of your, well, it's rooted down, of course, but from the root, up through the belly, up into the center of the chest, and just blossoms out from there, from the head, same, down through the crown chakra, into the heart, and blossoms out from there, from the ground up, into the heart, blossoms there. You see, it's a uniform equity. And our perception in it is what gives it its experience. Now, every little person in your reality has its own experience too. But that is shared, of course, with you and all the rest of us. And in the grander picture of things, there's this big old tapestry of life. And it's interwoven intricately and beautifully, so it's done perfectly. But when you're waving around as one little thread in that tapestry, you don't particularly feel the greatness of the picture you're creating there, see? And you're just one little tiny thread, one little molecule in that entire structure. And it's huge. It includes all of time, space, every bit of experience in it. It's the rock and roll. It's the work of the artiste of the heart, you see. And this is why we sometimes feel, in our disconnected way, this great yearning to be a part of the grander play. Not recognizing that we already are, that we are the very center of that experience. And this is why those of us that are brave enough to move beyond the given parameters of life will test the limits a little bit and allow ourselves to experience about anything once, until we know better, of course. But there's a value in all experience, even if it's getting slammed to the ground by the greatest wrestler there ever was that you never even should have looked at, let alone said howdy to. Whatever it is, you understand? It's all about purifying your heart. And sometimes just showing that old heart how much we can endure together as a physical person, a spiritual being, and a human heart, which is the entire conscious presence of the universe, living inside of us. So in a way, we are the temple of the universe, the temple of the universal heart. And the earth, she's our cathedral, our place of worship, our place of celebration, because that's what worship really is, it's celebration. It ain't ritual and pageantry, it's celebration. It's a big difference. Ritual and pageantry is born of stagnant living, of dead lives, trying to bring themselves back to life, to give themselves an excuse to be, and to carry on energies that dead people can't even hardly conceive of. Dead people walking on me, In this age of the release of pain, where we let it all go, baby, the only thing that will work for us is going with the flow, is being in that creation more perfectly than we ever were before. And that's by allowing ourselves to experience all of it in a single pleasurable moment. This moment of now, Spring Creek, where the water of life first bubbles forward into being, the being that each of us are, and all of us together become as we are, as one. Swimming naked in that old Spring Creek today, ain't we, baby? But having a lot of little fun, man. Hey, I'm going to go put a rope swing on that tree limb over there. You guys want to swing in with me? This is going to be fun, okay? You got Grandpa Coyote. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the little green men, Blue Buffalo, Puff the Magic Dragon, some of our sweet angels, tons of sweet angels, I should say, lots of sweet human spirits tuned in ancestrally, and so on and so forth, baby, and above us all and within us all, holding our heart together, holding our lives together with the steadiness of pure love. Our Mother Mary Jane. Baby, Spring Quick, the moment of truth, baby. Right here on the Hazy Radio Network, rocking this little reality you could ever tune into, eh? Well, except for maybe the one inside yourself there, okay?